we have to first try to keep alive the best of our tradition by having the courage to raise our voices, to engage in forms of vision and analysis that people can see and hear. You see, now I would argue that there's always a pedagogical element of politics because that's what consciousness raising is. That's really what it is. That's what Ella Baker, I think, understood so well, right? How do you get strong people so you don't need to have strong leaders? Well, you get strong people because the people have to undergo themselves transformation. And they undergo transformation with two sources, light and love. They got to be loved enough to have enough confidence in themselves, to respect themselves, to think for themselves. Then the light is, oh, that's what the analysis look like. Oh, that's what's going on with militarism. Oh, that's what happening with the big business community. Is that why the black bourgeoisie in Atlanta came together around Cop City? Oh, we got a different analysis. Yes, Black Power Media got a different analysis than CNN, casting a different kind of light than CNN. You see what I mean? So in that sense, that consciousness raising always has that pedagogical dimension to it. And for me, we got to be very honest too about the fundamental feature of keeping oppressed people deferential is always fear. It's always fear, you see. When you niggerize a dignified African people with terror and trauma and force and fraud, you keep them scared, intimidated, and full of fear. And the only thing that breaks the back of fear is love and light. That's the only thing. Without that, if you unloved and you just gonna defer and just grab any sense of belonging to be because you're so hungry and thirsty for it. And if you're deeply loved, but you're still living in a kind of overwhelming ideological fog of what we used to call ignorance, then you still don't have an analysis of empire and capitalism and patriarchy and white supremacy and so forth. But when you get that beautiful combination of love and light and break the back of fear, then you are free African. You are a free black woman or black man, a free human being, which of course means what? Then you become a threat. I say at that point, things get real concrete, because the most dangerous movement in any white supremacist society is free black people organized. And even a free black woman on her own, with her own voice, can constitute a threat under certain circumstances, or a free black man with their own voice under certain circumstances can constitute a threat. You see, sometimes the threat is illusory. You know what I mean? I mean, it's amazing for me in my campaign. I haven't had one fundraiser. I haven't had one public event. Y'all know my first one gonna be in Mississippi, right, with the precious Emmett Till family. Right? But I turn on the TV and people calling me a menace and a threat to this. Hey, wait. I'm just an extension of this movement. What kind of threat y'all talking about? What kind of menace are you talking about? Oh, I see. What they perceive is this black man ain't got no fear in terms of speaking what's on his mind and saying things that are cutting against the grain, saying things that may cast a light on their own corporate power, their own blindness, their own greed, their own avarice, their own indifference toward the suffering of folk on the other side of town, the chocolate side of town, poor sides of town, you see. That's the only thing you can come up with, because how in the world can this perception be of being such a threat to the corporate duopoly, or whatever language you want to use?
How do you see fear impeding our desire to even try to have an independent party, or understanding that to have a clear message of love and fierce resistance is a form of victory in itself?
Absolutely, because the thing is that without breaking the back of fear, we have not satisfied what is a precondition and prerequisite for any kind of serious struggle. And fear is the major way in which oppressed people remain subjugated. Mm-hmm. Psychically, intellectually, socially, politically. Now we know repression is real. We got Brother Mumi's picture right there. That repression is as real as a heart attack, and therefore, for certain slices of the movement, the assassination, incarceration, and so forth are very, very real and concrete realities. There's no doubt about that. But I don't believe that martyrdom should in any way be normative for the movement. You got to have a number of different things people can do without having to be incarcerated on the spot or be assassinated at the moment, you see. But you can only do that in collectivity. You can only do that in communities. But communities themselves have to have strong stories and narratives and rituals and ways of creating buffers against the raw power coming at them. And this is one of the reasons why we talk about the music all the time. Or one of the reasons we talk about coming together, even the networks that you have with the womanist and feminist sisters in Brazil, all around the world. That gives you a sense of conviviality and community that allows you to continue in the face of what seems to be so overwhelming. You know, the David versus Goliath like situation, or Davina versus Goliath, whoever it is. You see. And the only way that fear can be pushed back is through example. When we're talking about love and light were the two ways of breaking the back, but love without example is empty. And life without concrete enactments of the theory become hollow after a while, or can become so narrowly academic. And I mean, my God, your magisterial corpus, I must note, Lord have mercy, has been one of the great counter-hegemonic, countervailing examples of how to be in the academy, but not of it. I'd be in Williams College, but at the same time, towering freedom fighter. You see, there's not too many intellectuals like that. Not too many intellectuals like you, Sister Joy. That's just a fact. But that becomes an example of how you deal with the fear in professional managerial sites.